Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. I just realized that my mic was muted. Uh, I'm back from PAX East. Gone for about a week. That's like death sentence in Twitch, so hopefully we do well tonight. Um, but we have Mike with us, and we're gonna start talking about a few things that happened in the news. And we're gonna talk about PAX East. I don't know if Mike has questions about it, but I'll go over what I saw, what I did, and generally how it was. And just a secret, wasn't very great. I had fun, but there was a lot of bad things. So let's start off with news first. I guess I need like a transition to news. Um, so the first major thing is something actually kind of sad is Jim Ward or Dronan, the wizard, uh, who was a veteran of the TSR industry. He helped make Greyhawk Adventures. He did Denny's Gods. He did. He also helped make Gamma World. I met the guy once at a con. He was really nice, friendly. Um, so, but he passed away. I mean, he lived a fairly long life, 72. But still a sad day for RPGs because he did pretty much was one of the fathers of the RPG worlds. So between him and Gary Gygax, it was pretty much they're pretty much the fathers and of modern day RPGs. So um,
Yeah.
not much to say on that because there wasn't much news about his death or anything. I'm assuming he's 72 years old. No. Um but yeah. Gamma World, if you haven't played it, have you played it, Mike?
I have not.
A super interesting system. It's definitely intriguing. It's very OSR.
Okay.
So but sounds yeah, don't have much more to say about Jim. Except that here's to you, because he was one of the greats.
Yeah.
But we're getting up in the age, Mike, where things like that start happening. Um, the second thing is the CEO of Hasbro made a statement that was wishy washy about AI and how they're going to be using it for WotC, and basically said he's planning on using it. And he wants to respect the creators and works and ownership, but also realizes that AI can help them quickly iterate on things that they normally wouldn't be able to. Um, he's Hasbro has since come out and said that's not entirely the case. Um, they basically kind of recanted some of what he was saying, but then again, their actions of late kind of go along with the CEO. So, um,
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily against AI, as people know, but I'm against it in a commercial sense because of the way it was taught. But I'm kind of stuck in this thing where I like AI. I think AI is very useful, but I also see where people are saying, well, it wasn't. It was trained by artists that didn't know they were getting trained by. It was.
Yeah, yeah, no, fully agree. Some of the implementation measures are problematic, and it also depends on um, some of those industry standards as well being rectified and ratified and being adjusted now as we look at it from a enterprise standpoint, um, and how it's being integrated and how quickly it's being integrated.
Yeah, and it's AI is getting integrated so quickly. I think it's quicker than the laws can keep up with. That's for sure. Um,
Yeah.
uh, the this one I'll switch to the screen here. Hold on. So this one has this interesting. WotC and Converse have teamed up to make D&D based Converse
For the
um,
50th anniversary.
for the 50th anniversary. They're kind of cool. I just don't know if I want to give WotC any more money. Um, Dice taketh away. Do you see that? Um, I mean, they're really cool, but I yeah, I bet they're going to be really expensive too, though.
So it's definitely interesting artwork.
Yeah,
The way, yeah.
I'm not opposed to them. I know how much
Well,
WotC's going to be making out
I'll
of it.
be I'll be honest. I know lots of people that are huge shoe fanatics. I'm not. I think they're really neat. They look really cool. But if it were left to me, they'll probably be still sitting on the shelf somewhere.
They were 30 or 40 bucks. I might do that, might buy them, but we all know they're not going to be 30 or 40 bucks.
Well, so there is a Hawaiian looking T-shirt that's also coming out that they've made a deal with. Now, when I get ready to say this, I don't know the material that it's made out of, and I don't know if you can find it in cheaper places. But from what I saw today of it, it was like 120 bucks.
Oh,
Like
jeez.
what? Now, again, same. They look really cool, but I'm not a big Hawaiian shirt wearer. I got a good buddy back home who is, and I was like, I'm thinking about I think he would enjoy this, and him and I share a birthday, so I was like, I think this would be a really good birthday present." And I saw the price, and I was like, do I really want to spend that?"
So some sad news. Lorarian Studios CEO has come out and said that they are not doing any DLC for Baldur's Gate 3.
That's
Um,
disappointing.
it is. They were working on it, and he said they were working on it, and nobody's heart was in the game, is what he said. So I believe his direct quote is they're working on evil endings right now. No, where was it? Find it, am I? But anyways, the gist of what he was saying was the dev team just didn't feel their heart wasn't into it, so they're
Right.
not going to do it. That doesn't mean they're not doing something. They are going to be doing something. They're just not doing anything with Baldur's Gate. Um, I don't know why. Oh, is what's
Yeah, that's that
the
link
shirt?
for those shirts.
Oh, they're not even that good. They're okay, but I've seen much better D&D Hawaiian shirts. I own a better D&D Hawaiian shirt, to be honest. Um,
It's not a niche I'm in. I couldn't tell you. I saw I was like, "Oh, that's a really cool idea." When I saw them and I saw the price, I was like, "That's a really cool idea. It'll stay it'll stay really cool."
and just before I went out to PAX, uh, Critical Role announced a beta testing beta testing for Daggerheart.
Yes.
I am going to be doing a stream of Daggerheart. I don't know if it's going to be before my next con in April. Um, but it's definitely going to be within the month, I think. No problem, Frog. Um, it looks amazing. Have you checked it out?
I have. I have. We sat down and pilfered through it. Actually, in this last one shot that I did with the family over the weekend, I pulled some of the aspects of Daggerheart out and was playing with those just to kind of see
I
how I like the combat flow and the flow of combat in that same manner. And there's a lot more that I like that they've done with it, with Daggerheart and the concepts that obviously, like I said, I'm just playing it with my homebrew stuff to kind of, oh, how does that flow? How well does that go? But it's something that we as the group have debated now probably for a month and a half when I was reading over other ways to kind of make combat flow was a tactic close to that. Let the players choose. And then when the players get a round done, let the adversary take a round or something like
yeah,
what's out of 10 Aries with their miniatures and RPG system. We
that to
have
me is not the most distinguishing feature of Daggerheart.
no, 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 it wasn't, but that was one of the ones that I was playing with. I was just like, let's see how this plays and how this goes. Um, and then the not necessarily fear and hope, but the how many times players go, right? And then using that as how many times I can go. But they play that much differently inside Daggerheart, right? There's a much cooler mechanism that's designed in Daggerheart to account for that. For me, I was just like playing with
Uh,
combat. Let's see how combat goes.
the fear and hope thing got me. That pretty much sold me on the whole thing. Like the idea of having a fear die and a hope die, and then if it's successful and you have hope, it's super successful. Uh, if it's successful and you have fear, you're
Failing forward.
successful but you're failing forward type deal.
Hmm.
And then same thing if you have a failure and a hope, you're kind of failing forward. And then fear is it was an interesting concept and I really like it.
Yeah, I like the way that they play with hope is a lot of the way that I thought inspiration should have been in a base mechanic for D&D,
Absolutely.
right? It's not something that should be this mythical thing that you get maybe once or twice and then you only get one. You get one, that's it. That's it. Spend it wisely and you don't know when you're going to get the next one. Right? It's this thing that should routinely come up. It should routinely happen. Uh, Maybe routinely is not as often as it should, but it should be something that's readily available. Um,
Right.
yeah, that was what I
I'm
really enjoyed about that. And then fear on the other side of that being for the GM to employ, right? I get my fear made me think of foobar tokens from, oh my God, I forgot that game. But I'll have to look that one up because that'll get me. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up too because I didn't
things
know
for
it.
the GM to put in and
Yeah,
utilize their discretion.
which I think is cool. It looks really interesting. Only thing I'm not sold on is the cards. Cards seem overly complicated for something that shouldn't be that complicated.
Oh, for the skills,
Skills, yeah.
that reminded me a lot of fourth edition and just kind of how they managed, right? How you manage how often you can do it, um, or the ease of which I have accessibility to it. It's right here, literally in my hands and my fingertips. I do a lot of stuff digitally, so the physical aspect of the cards is, I won't say is lost on me, but is I'm not as worried about it.
I just
Interested.
don't see the point. It seems like a waste of resources because I've been looking at printing stuff recently, and printing cards is expensive. Um, You probably could have made the book a little. You could have made the and they haven't announced if it comes with the cards or if it's
Right.
you know. Um, and then the way they provided it with you is it's a PDF and you have to print out the cards and cut them. It's if their digital format is that way, that's going to be a problem for me because I do everything digital, as you well know, and that's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
That being said, they do have the character creator over at Demiplane, which was cool.
Yes. My youngest son has already been all over it and built a couple characters. When we go out to Ohio to catch the eclipse that's coming, you may have heard of it. We'll be out there in the path of totality. We're going to visit some family, and that was the plan, was to do a take their provided adventure and kind of run that for them.
I think I'm going to run an adventure for 5e in it and to see how well it correlates.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that's definitely coming up on the channel. I will definitely be streaming that Daggerheart series. Um, that's all I have for news. There wasn't much news between in the 2 weeks that I was gone. I don't know if you have anything else that you found.
I am. Give me 1 second. I'm like 4 pages into finding that stupid game. It's not a stupid game. It's a very fun game. I'm just very annoyed that I can't remember what the name of that silly game is. Not even silly. It's a very fun game.
Fubar?
So no. So they have Fubar tokens. It is a World War II based role playing game by Firelock Games, and it is War. Is it War Stories? Yes, I think it's War Stories.
War stories?
War Stories. So it's a World War II based role playing game that's all kinds of fun. If I remember correctly, D6 based. But if you get bad rolls, it's D6 and then there's a D10. I'm trying to remember what the D10 was for, but what am I trying to say here? The FUBAR tokens are if you roll very poorly, that gives the GM some things in their favor for them to do. And I got a lot of GMs that have been out there. You don't need those things. You're right. You don't need those things, but it's things that let players know I can do this, right? Something written into the mechanics that says, don't forget about these things, right? So if you're pushing your luck inside war stories, meaning you're pushing further than you may think you can to try and get that epic whatever it is that get that one more shot off if you're a sniper to try and take out whatever enemy is out there. So you're pushing your luck, pushing your luck, pushing your luck, and if you push your luck too far and you don't succeed, then you get FUBAR tokens, and those are for the GM to be able to play at any point and go, oh yeah, that round that you thought was great, there's your FUBAR token. Why don't you go ahead and re-roll that?
That's interesting.
Which is, in my mind, that's the same idea that you're looking at with those fear tokens from the GM, or an aspect of those fear tokens with the GM, as well as the way they can use the tokens to fuel adversarial actions.
Yeah. I guess I read it more like they could fuel the adversary reactions and less about screwing over the players. But I only quickly read it before I went to PAX, so it wasn't like I sat down and dissected it.
Maybe that's my idea on, so if you can do that, then you can expand that just a little bit over to something like this.
Yeah, I could foresee like tokens being used against players. I could see that being bad in some DM hands.
Yeah, everything's about balance, right?
Yeah. Before we jump into Kickstarters, because I do have a few of those, let's talk about PAX. So here's why it was disappointing. Well, PAX East is basically mostly video game based. there is tabletop, but it's mostly video game based, which is fine. I went there expecting that. So the vendors for the tabletop not showing up was expected. What wasn't expected was none of the video game publishers that are significant showed up, except for Square Enix.
Wow.
Supposedly Nintendo was there, but they really weren't there. As much as they say they were, they literally their space was a picture taking place with a Pokemon. That's all they had. They did have a whole Pokemon section, but that wasn't Nintendo doing it. It was the Pokemon company doing it. Um. Uh, so none of the major players showed up. They were all at game conference, game developer conference. I think they happened at the same weekend, and I think that's what killed it.
Right.
So that was kind of disappointing. On top of that, the independent companies that did show up were okay. There was nothing out there that jumped to me and said, "Oh, play me." There was a game called Seven Blood Days, and the concept is that Dragon Con thing. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Frog. Dragon Con doesn't happen till August. I'm talking about PAX right now. PAX East. So there was a game called Seven Blood Days, and basically the concept it's a 4 versus 1 type situation, where 4 people play as first person shooters, and then you have a kind of like a game master that runs the zombies in the world. So they can tell the zombies where to spawn and where to go. And that was kind of interesting. There was a game called Chrono. Oh, it's going to irritate me because I don't have it right here.
You said Chrono?
Yeah, Chrono something. But that one was interesting. It paused the time while you. It was like a bullet time game that paused it while you didn't move, and then when you moved, it would continue the game. So it was kind of like but it was top down instead of Chronosphere. Thank you. I played that one. That one was interesting. But really, those are the only games that really interested me. I did come away with some cool stuff though. So I came away with this game called Inked. Ink. This game is a roguelike tabletop RPG. So basically, the whole concept is you're dead already, and then you're fighting your way to become undead. But as you die, as the players die, the only way to level is to get a full TPK. So each time you TPK, you start over, and then you get better and better as you go. So it's a roguelike for a tabletop. I thought that was really cool.
Interesting. I could think of some GMs that would really enjoy that perspective of it. I mean, it sounds very much GM versus players instead of cooperative.
It's not though. Like that's what was interesting about it. It's not GM versus players. It's still very much a cooperative storytelling. because you have these things called shadows. That so you have your own character, and then you have a shadow, and the shadow does all the fighting for you.
Okay.
So it's really interesting. I'm kind of excited about playing this one. Um, what was interesting was the media person who was there, how she talked about it was she said some people use it so if you get a TPK in your like Dungeons and Dragons game, they'll
Hmm.
bring this out
Right.
to kind of get them back to the into the
Hmm.
world. So I thought that was a cool, interesting idea. And then I picked up a Morkborg game called Castaway. And the concept of this game is that you are stuck on an island and you have to survive. But it's Morkborg, so the chances of surviving is very low.
Right.
It has concepts in here, and I'm going to get the creator of this one on the channel.
Okay.
Matt and I talked a lot this weekend, so we're gonna get him on the channel to talk about this. But basically, it's gonna be like it has like building shelters and surviving with food and
Some
stuff
survival
rules.
aspects. Okay.
He was nice enough to give me Stranded, which is a uh, rules to play Castaway by yourself, so solo play. So that's interesting that you can solo it.
Yeah.
Another game that he's created called Bugborg. This one's also a Mortborg, and the whole premise of this is you're a bug. Not a bug that has amorphic, you're a bug. So you have to avoid things like
Feet.
other bugs, birds, and like basic survival of a bug. So that one sounded interesting to me too. Uh, this game I got to play, and it's really fun. It's an older game, but it's really fun. Uh,
The video feed went out.
Video feed went out.
Yeah, that's
What?
what Frog just said.
Hmm. Checking my game. Oh, that's not good. Why is that? My bitrate's fine. Oh, my bitrate dropped to nothing. I don't know how to fix that. How do I fix that? Um, hmm. I'm offline now. I'm clearly not offline.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if YouTube's having the same problem. YouTube is not having the same problem. Welcome, thank you, Twitch, for being Twitch.